Hello and welcome to Motors for the Masses, and today we've got some very interesting motorcycles to talk about. So let's roll the intro and get cracking. Now, those of you that are into the car world will know the name Brabus, part of Mercedes, or the exciting version of Mercedes, shall we say. Take a Mercedes that's very fast already and make it even faster and a bit more redonkulous. Well, Brabus have teamed up with KTM and they're going to be bringing out a 1400cc motorcycle. Have a look at this. It's a naked street bike, and yes, it does look a little bit like a Yamaha MT10, I would say, or possibly a bit of an MV Agusta feel about it, but it's a bit brutal. I tell you what, it's got a little bit of B King about it, you know, the Suzuki B King, the naked Hayabusa, if you will. I think it's a bit as bonkers as that looking. I mean, this is not the first time they've done it. Brabus did introduce the 1300R edition in 2023. I mean, it kind of felt as though it was coming, because in the last one they used the 1290 Super Duke engine, but now, as that is no longer a bike in production, being replaced by the 1390, it kind of makes sense. Although it's not a 1390, it's a 1350 LC8 V-twin engine. Still pretty quick, 190 horsepower, I do believe. However, they've called it a 1400, and it's not, it's a 13 and a half. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's not get into that now. But what a monster. Looking forward to seeing that one. However, like with all the Brabus brands, everything, once it's got that name attached to it, becomes ridiculously expensive. Now, the original Super Duke R Evo that the engine was from was, what, 15, 16 grand? However, the Brabus version was 40 grand. I don't know either. So it kind of begs the question that it's going to be triple the price, or is it just going to be more realistic for people to actually buy, or just a marketing gimmick that the odd one or two will buy? I don't know. But whatever it is, it's going to be pretty awesome. I'd love to see one. I'd love to ride one. Obviously, I won't ride it properly because I'm not psychopathic. However, I'm still keen to see it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what it turns out like, if they actually go ahead with it, and I'm sure they will. So sticking with KTM for a second, but not quite KTM, is the new Husqvarna. Now, before I tell you what it is, you may know already, but before I tell you what it is, I don't know how popular the Husqvarna's Vitpillen, Svartpillen have been. Certainly in the UK, sales figures were not fantastic, to the state where they had to cut the prices to actually get rid of them. I personally like the design, but I think it's a bit Marmite. You either love it or hate it. And when you're trying to sell a bike, Marmite is good because it's unique and special, but not if you want mass sales and you want to get a profit. Simply because half the people will love it and half the people will hate it. And what you tend to want is more people like it than don't like it, not a 50-50 split. But there you go. Anyway, it's the new Husqvarna Svartpillen 801. Now, this is going to have a lot of competition in that market, especially, well, more specifically, the KTM 790 Duke is going to be its rival. It's going to be using the 799 LC8C parallel twin engine. So, we'll see how that goes. But I don't know. I mean, what else has it got in its range? The new Hornet 750, the Suzuki GSX 8S or 8R, even the 890 Duke, and the CF Moto, of course, which uses a KTM engine. Well, I say KTM engine. It's actually a CF Moto engine in the KTM, but you know what I mean. So, I don't know. I don't know how popular it's going to be. I might like it. I don't know if they're going to go for that full scrambler style. I think they're going to be sort of a mixture of the Svartpillen and Vitpillen rolled into one. I mean, here's a picture of it. I mean, it does look nice, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be enough. When you've got a lot of competition in that arena, it has to be priced really, really well to sell. Really well. And I don't know how fantastic it's going to be. What I did like about the Husqvarna is how light it was and how nimble it was. Very good to ride, very fun to ride, and I really like them. I do like them. I don't know if it's going to be popular enough to carry this brand forward in the Svartpilen arena, but we'll see. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the Svartpilen and the Vitpilen. If you've got a Husqvarna, if you are interested in this one, or if you're interested in one of the other options, let me know how you feel about it. So next we're going to go on to something a little bit funky, and that is this. Now that's quite cool. I like that. That's the Zong Shen ZS 150 mini bike. Something that's going to be a rival for the likes of the Honda Dax or the Honda Monkey bike, I would say. And that's quite a funky looking bike. I would love one of those. Now Zong Shen are a massive, and I mean massive, motorcycle group in China, one of the biggest I believe. They own various different companies, and I really do think that this is going to be quite popular. Depends on the price, obviously, once it hits the UK, but I would love to get my hands on one of these and see what it's like. A 150 as well, so they're probably going to do a 125 for the UK market. Probably going to be air-cooled, which is a bit of a shame, but in a bike like that, that small, I think the air-cooled engine will fly quite happily. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. It's a fun-looking bike. Now, what we've also got is, now, it's not going to be called this in the UK, I would very much doubt, but the Bender. In the UK, they've rebranded Bender to Keyway, and I think for obvious reasons. Not many people want to ride a Bender. Let's move on. Anyway, let's call it the Keyway for now. No, let's not call it the Keyway because it isn't officially, but the Bender 250 range. Now, we've got this, which is the Roadster. Interestingly, it seems to have a V-twin engine. Now, it's not the first time we've seen this. Bullet had the V-twin engine in their bobber as well. And I'm quite keen to see if it's the same engine. I've got a feeling it will be, because I don't think there's that many V-twin 250s out there. In which case, it'll be a nice, decent enough engine, a nice, decent enough power. We're talking 80, 85 miles an hour. And I think it'll sound quite nice as well. That's the interesting about it. And I'm quite looking forward to seeing that. I mean, it's got a bit of a higher sung feel to it, doesn't it? So maybe it's going to be that engine. Who knows? But anyway, it's called the Roadster. It's quite a nice looking bike. I quite like the exhausts. I'm not a fan of the grey. But, you know, I think it would be quite a nice bike. Again, as long as it's priced properly, I think that will sell decently. I like that. The only thing I feel is that I don't know if 250 is enough. There seems to be a lot of people doing the 300s these days, and I think 300 would be better. If you've already passed your test, I don't know how many people would go from 125 to a 250. So, maybe a 300 or even a 400 would be better. A 398cc or a 298cc, something like that, I think would be a better choice for a V-twin. Once you've passed your test, you don't really want to go just that tiny bit more. You want to go a decent amount. You don't maybe not want a 600 or a 1000cc monster, but something like a 250 might not be enough for this market. In other countries where you can ride a 250 on learner plates, then fine. And obviously the UK just has to mop up what the rest of Europe is throwing away. So we'll see. But I'd like to see it. And I'd like to try it, obviously. Now, this is not the only one that's coming. This is something else. The Bender Bobber. That's just a whole new connotation waiting to hit the headlines, isn't it? Now, what I like about this is that suspension. Look at that front suspension. And those front forks built into that sort of weird extra frame. It's definitely, it's got a fantastic mix of old style and modern tech built in. That is really, really well done. I love the floating seat design. The V-twin engine looks really snug in there. And look at those little stubby exhausts as well. Fantastic design. I really do like that a lot. Again, I don't know how well a 250 is going to perform. Maybe a 300 would have been better. I don't know. I don't want to predict because obviously I haven't seen it or ridden it in the flesh, but it's almost ready for production, I believe. And again, as long as they don't call it a Bender, I think it will do quite well. Now, for those of you not watching this in the UK and you're wondering why I'm constantly talking about Bender and why they shouldn't call it that, in the UK, Bender, spelt B-E-N-D-E-R, means something very different. Google it. And that is why they shouldn't call it Bender in the UK. But anyway, I like this. I really do like it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Again, depends on the price. Be interesting to see how much it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be that expensive. Certainly not in China. When it comes to the UK, once you've hit all the nonsense taxes, then maybe. But I'm probably guessing around 4 to 5 grand, something like that. Who knows? But I'm liking that. I do like that. I'm not really into choppery, bobbery style bikes per se, especially things like the Honda Rebel with that teardrop tank. Some people love it. And the 1100, I rode the 1100 at the ABR festival several years ago, and I thought it was brilliant. A great bike, but I just didn't like to look at it. And I'm not really a fan. But this, I like the look of it. I just don't like the style of bobbers as such. However, I'm open to things that are different, and this is different. So bringing up the rear of this video, we're looking at EV. I mean, yes, I know, but that's where the market is heading, and of course we have to address the situation. So, EV, not just any EV, and it's not a zero, so don't get too worried. As you know, Harley-Davidson, the sub-company Livewire, have introduced their Livewire Del Mar. The S2 Del Mar was a bike that was quite fast. They've also just released recently their new S2 Mulholland. Using the Arrow platform. This thing does a 0 to 60 about 3.3 seconds. It's only got like 85 horsepower, but 195 pounds-foot of torque. So it's pretty nippy. Now, apparently, using the same technology, they're going to be bringing out this new version. Look at this. Now, as badged here, Kimco. Kimco is part of the Livewire brand. So they have a big say in what happens, and their technology is going into the bike. Look at that. I mean, it's just another street bike, of course, but it's a big electric street bike to rival the likes of Zero. What do you think of that? Let me know in the comment section below what you think of it. I'm not a fan of electric bikes, as you know, but I'll give them a chance. I don't know if it's going to be part of the Livewire brand or whether they're going to introduce it as Kimco. Be interesting to see how they badge it. I should imagine it'll come through the Harley-Davidson channels into Livewire, because they can make more money off it then, can't they? Kimco, before people get carried away, is not a Chinese brand. It's a Taiwanese brand. And I know it depends who you talk to. Taiwan isn't part of China at the moment. So yeah, it's a big brand. Very good quality bikes. Very good quality. And I know they're bunched in the same group, but they're not in the same group. And they are decent bikes. There's not a huge amount of Kimco dealers, especially in my area, in the UK, all told. But this could be interesting for them. I don't know if they would brand it, as I say, as Kimco only in Asia, and then Livewire in America, UK, Europe. I don't know. But let's see. Be interesting to see. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. And that's all I've got for this video. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back very soon with something else. So until next time, please ride and drive carefully, but have fun. Bye-bye.